There is no more difficult road to navigate than the road to the November 9. On this road, players don't cruise, they bob and weave.
Okay.
Brutal.
I love you.
Whoa!
They know you don't mess with Texas.
Do I think I'm a dark horse? No.
Or the luck of the Irish. They are wary of lambs slaughtering lions.
You can't live outside the moment. You have to live in the moment. Play every hand as well as you can.
And they know that against all odds, the youngest one left is ahead of them all.
Yeah.
The road is rough, rugged, and ruthless, but if the finish line can be reached, the reward will be worth the ride. Welcome back to Las Vegas, home of the 2011 World Series of Poker main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. 18 players left, 2 tables left. ONOD showing the poker world the Irish aren't just lucky.
20 years ago, his father made the main event final table a second time. Owen now trying to get there a first time.
So last night, I met your dad, and he did the Devo dance.
Did he? What is that?
I'm not really sure, but it was pretty funny because your dad's like, yeah, I want you to make the November 9. We'll do the Devo dance. He starts bouncing around like this, like, I am not mad. We are Devo. I'm like, who's
He's going nuts.
There is excitement in the room as the November 9 creeps closer with every elimination. Ben Lamb has been steady as they come.
Oh, I've seen him lose 2, maybe 3 pots over the last year.
It's good to be 21 and from the former Soviet Union.
Makievsky from Ukraine, Patachuk from Russia, both of them from a far better poker place than I.
Anton Makievsky is the chip leader by about 8 million, with OD trailing at second. Phil Collins, whose dad did the Devo dance, is in ninth. The average stack over 11 million.
The dinosaur in the field, 51-year-old Sam Barnhart, has some work to do to get Little Rock represented in the November 9.
All players pointing towards the $8.7 million top prize. Lamb and Makievsky at opposite ends of our feature table.
Anton, what we do, let's make sure we look at each other in the entire hand. It's fun.
Makievsky, the young face of the chip leader. Action on Bob Bunar from Belize. He sits out. Makievsky with ace-jack offsuit.
He's trying to become the first Ukrainian to make the main event final table, and of course he would be the youngest ever world champion. He'd have Joe Cata beat by about 3 months.
His reads have been strong, instinct sharp. The pressure has been intense. A raise to 450,000. Sam Barnhart with Jack-8 of spades on the button.
From the youngest to the oldest here, Barnhart turned 21 10 years before Makievsky was born.
Sam sits with 6.2 million, and he will make the call. In the small blind, Patachuk folds. Lamb in the big, and he'll lay down. So heads up, Makievsky and Barnhart.
Makievsky in aquamarine, Barnhart in razorback maroon.
All right, here's the flop. Deuce ace 7 2 spades, top pair for Makievsky. Barnhart with a spade flush draw. Makievsky checks.
Barnhart trying to disguise his shock that Makievsky didn't continuation bet.
Check back. Turn card 9 of diamonds. Makievsky almost a 3-to-1 favorite now. Barnhart adds a gut shot.
With Barnhart checking behind him on the flop, Makievsky's got to believe his aces are best right now.
And he will bet those aces 600,000.
Barnhart with a flush draw and a straight draw. If he were 30 years younger, he might be raising right here.
Barnhart, the World Series of Poker Circuit National Champion. He earned a bracelet for that. He makes a call.
Sam plays it conservatively. Of course, he is up against the big stack.
All right, the river card. Deuce of diamonds. Barnhart misses his draws. Makievsky will see if he can get any more out of Sam. And he bets 1,100,000.
You mentioned all of Sam's busted draws. Really nowhere for him to go here.
And Sam does lay it down, and the chip leader gets a little stronger. With a wry smile.
Yeah.
Ben Lamb hates to see Makievsky getting stronger. Barnhart can ill afford to lose any chips now, down to about 5 million.
Знаешь, как круто, когда уже иностранцы. Подошел, кстати, американец, говорит, дуже добре. Понимаешь?
You guys just say whatever you want between yourselves.
Whether by skill, luck, or likely some combination of the two, the final 18, just 0.3% of the starting field, are tantalizingly close to the November 9. Ukrainian chip leader Anton Makievsky has the inside track to the final table because of his impeccable timing, aggression, skill, and yes, some luck.
Lon Makievsky 4-bets pots the way you and I limp into pots. Sure, sometimes he's very wrong and gets very lucky. But who among us is not very wrong and very lucky? So if I were Anton's poker coach, I'd tell him, go with what got you here, son. Keep attacking, keep assaulting, keep aggressing, keep 4-betting. Don't worry about limpers like me and Lon. We're losers.
I hate it when you tell the harsh truth, Norman. Let's get over to the secondary table.
I feel like we should have yearbooks and be like, have a bitch in summer, keep in touch.
What? Tags?
This is like the last
HAGS?
day, like
Have a
we're
good
all
summer?
done, yeah.
See you in November.
For 9 of them, Queen 6 off on the Jack Link's beef jerky whole cam for the Czech Republic's Martin Stashko.
And Trinik Martin Stashko was voted in his yearbook most likely to make the final 18 of the main event.
He raised it up to 425. Brian Devonshire folds a small blind. Kwa went in the big blind with pocket 6s.
He travels several months a year. His next big trip will be to the Himalayas. Tough internet reception there.
He sits with approximately 12.5 million chips, and he makes the call. Heads up with Stashko. 7-9-9. Kwa win with 2 pair now.
It's a pretty good flop for pocket 6s. I might bet it.
No, he does not.
To each his own.
Stashko now. He checks. Turn card. 8 of hearts, each with the same open ender. Wynn leads with his 6s still. He checks.
It's almost as if Wynn is waiting for his pocket 6s to get beaten.
Stashko will put out a bet of 475.
Stashko is going to pretend that the 6s are beaten.
But they are not. And Wynn makes the call. All right, river card is a queen. Stashko rivers queens up, and that will not make Kwa Wynn happy. Wynn checks a 3rd time. That's his best check of the hand. Stashko bets $1,080,000.
About half the pot. Wynn has not liked his hand the whole way. Not sure why he'd like it much now.
Kwa Wynn is beat if Stashko has any piece of that board, and we know he does. Trying to figure out the man from the Czech Republic. A call, and Stashko will win it with queens up.
Well, instead of betting the flop and the hand might have been over, Wynn check calls the turn in the river and loses 15% of his stack.
And that gift to Stashko moves his stack up to 8.4 million as Kwa Wynn drops to around 10 million. Let's get back over to the feature table.
I can't catch a break. Want to hear a real sad story? Me and my girlfriend over there were supposed to go to Turks and Caicos last night, but we had to miss the plane.
That's rough.
Yeah. I just paid for a $600 night hotel room last night. And I'm here.
Plays so tricky, spends so unwisely.
But you're happy, right?
You know, I thought we'll leave late day 7, and I booked like 3 weeks ago, you know? Late day 7 should be enough. And if it's not, I can tell a bad beat story on live television.
Well, that's the worst beat that Ben has taken all summer here. Folded to the chip leader, Makievsky. 5 tray of hearts, he'll fold.
By the way, you know it's a terrific heads-up match? Turks and Caicos versus Trinidad and Tobago.
Folded to Lamb in the small blind, ace-9 off.
Lamb's 2011 World Series has been surreal. He's cashed in his last 5 events here, including 3 final tables. So this would be his 4th final table in 5 events.
Raised to 525 to the lone Brit holdout in the main event. Sam Holden with ace-jack.
I'm all in.
And he moves all in, and a snap call from Lamb, and Holden in good shape.
Wish your hand wasn't as good.
Your raise freaked me out a bit.
Remember he's calling there, and Ray's folding there.
Well, because of their stack sizes, Lamb knew if Holden shoved, he would be calling.
All right, here is the flop. 7-8 deuce. Holden's kicker keeps him ahead.
This is Holden's first World Series. He's in great shape for his main event life, trying to hold off any Ben Lamb magic.
Turn card now. And that pairs Holden
More outs.
and gives Lamb a gut shot.
Yeah, so Lamb now looking for a 10 to make a straight and send Sam Holden home.
The river card. The deuce of spades, and that allows Holden's hand to stand up, and he'll stick around a little while longer.
Yeah, 33 big blinds now for Holden. He's got some breathing room.
Give Lamb credit. He's not afraid to put his chips to work to try to improve his stack. Holden doubles to $6.75 million, still off the virtual final table. The top 9 stacks, but still with a seat here in the big one. Welcome back to Day 8 of the World Series of Poker main event. 18 players left. 9 will make the final table. Every year it seems the field gets younger. This year no different. 13 of the remaining 18 are 29 years old or younger. 16 of 18 are 35 or younger. Only Bob Benar and Sam Barnhart are on the other side of 40.
Last year we had the youngest main event final table ever. 8 of the 9 players were 20-somethings. We've got a shot at that again this year.
Ryan Lenahan opened the action for $450,000 with King-Queen off to Makievsky on the button with pocket trays.
Phil Hellmuth had the youngest main event champion record for 19 years. Then Peter Eastgate broke the mark in 09. Then Joe Cata. And now Makievsky has a shot at it.
Makievsky, just a call. I did not know he had call in him.
How much you have? About 6 mil?
Started with like 6.5.
Ryan Lenahan, the one-time chip leader, has struggled of late.
Andre Patachuk in the big blind with Jack 8 of diamonds, calls for $250,000 more.
And Lenahan here sandwiched by the 2 21-year-olds.
All right, 3 players will see the flop. 5, 5, 10. That missed all 3. Makievsky's pocket trays keep him in the lead. Patachuk checks. Lenahan now with 2 overcards.
And Lenahan's going to take a stab at it.
$750,000.
Tough to push Makievsky around. And he's looking at Lenahan like, you don't have a 5, you don't have a 10. Who are you kidding?
Makievsky with the trays and the 5s on board makes the call. Patachuk folds his jack high. All right, so heads up to the turn. Makievsky now seems to be saying, why are you still in the hand with me? Turn card, deuce of diamonds, no help to Lenahan.
Lenahan eyeing his own stack. Where did all my chips go?
Yeah, no kidding. He checks.
Anton, do you want to look at Ryan or do you want to bet?
He checks. Option 3, river card. 4 of spades. Pocket trays are good enough. Check from Lenahan and a check.
King Queen?
3s win.
Don't know if another bet could have won it for Lenahan, but his stack is dwindling and he didn't want to risk it.
Another minor celebration for Anton. And Norman, as you alluded to, Lenahan feeling more heat with every chip lost. Almost 20% of his stack disappeared in that hand, down to $5.1 million. And even though Anton is young, he does not think he plays like today's younger generation.
I think that now in 2011, there are a lot of players, young players, who think that 6 betting and bluff with blocker is really nice. That's not true. There was a lot of spots where I played just like a 60-year-old guy, but I think that was most profitable just because they just keep calling and 3 bets with ace-3 and keep 4 betting me with ace-5. Why do I need to play such hands when I just can wait for queens and push it all in?
Well, we have seen Anton 3-bet and 4-bet bluff, but apparently he draws the line and occasionally puts on his 60-year-old guy's sunglasses.
Over at the other table, Brian Devonshire was dealt ace-king. He is faced with a raise to 425. John Hewitt did that with his pocket 6s. Devo starting the hand with a little more than $8 million, and he re-raises to $1,080,000. Owen O'D, the Irish pro, gives up his small blind. In the big blind, Phil Collins looks down at King Jack and tosses those in the muck. Hewitt now.
Hewitt, 23-year-old Costa Rican, born in Chicago.
He's lived in Costa Rica for most of his life. And the bigger stack with a 4-bet to $2.1 million.
All in.
Devonshire comes back over the top all in, and Hewitt quickly mucks.
And Hewitt just gave up about 20% of his stack without seeing a flop.
So Devo slaps down the bigger stack and picks up over 2.5 million new chips.
I tell you, it's tough to get work in that type of garb.
So Devo picking up a little steam while Hewitt may be steaming for betting with that hand. So Hewitt drops down to 9th place right on the precarious edge of the November 9. Makieski has extended his lead. He's up over 12 million on O&OD. The average stack at the final table will be almost 23 million.
With Makieski having 16% of all the chips in play right now, he's really the only one who can feel November 9 comfortable, and even he could miss getting there.
Devonshire with ace-queen of spades.
Devo put on his sweatshirt, perhaps to protect himself against a cold deck.
He raises to 440,000. O&OD with pocket kings.
OD always seems to have the same temperament at the table, and that's a good thing.
OD just calls with the kings. Methinks he has an evil plan in the works.
Yeah, I don't trust a man, Lon, who smooth calls with pocket kings from the cutoff seat. Never have.
Scott Schwalek in the big blind with Jack-6. And he will give it up. And so Devonshire with the ace-queen against the pocket kings of OD. All right, the flop. 7-6-4. Devonshire missed that, and he checks.
No continuation bet from Devonshire. How's OD going to smooth call again if there's no bet?
Well, is there such a thing as a smooth check? Turn card, another 4. Devonshire now reaching for chips.
And Devo finally decides, I'm best.
He tests the waters with 330,000.
OD's got Devo trapped. It's a fancy trap. It was built with a smooth call pre-flop and a check on the flop. It's a well-constructed trap for all seasons.
All right, now that OD has Devo in the trap, what will he do with him? OD raises to 900,000. Now, does Brian think OD is bluffing here? He has chips in hand. Well, there's the call from Brian.
No, Devo not a believer, and the cost of non-believing can be high.
OD's plan coming together even better now. 7 on the river, double pairs the board. And Devo checks now.
And OD's got Devo right where he wants him.
Devonshire with the 2 pair on the board and the ace kicker. OD has him crushed, though. A bet.
I call.
And a call.
Kings. Kings? Wow, that's a good hand.
Devo's shocked. He thought he was picking off a bluff, or at least splitting the pot with ace high.
1.4. Good hand.
O&OD with the top stack at the secondary table gets a bit stronger as his tricky play catches Devonshire off guard. Devo down to 8 million and talking to himself.
I call. Kings. Kings? Wow, that's a good hand.
Before the break, O&OD slow-played kings to take nearly 3 million chips from Brian Devonshire. Here's Phil Hellmuth on how he did it.
There's more than one way to play a big pair. As illustrated by the hand you just saw, a lot of people like to try to re-raise and play a big pot that way. But OD showed you another way to do it. He trapped. He just called the raise before the flop. When Devo checked, OD checked behind him with kings. He's really set this trap. And when the 4 came off and Devo bet, finally he sprung the trap. He raised it up, OD did, and then on the river got paid off $1 million bet. He probably won 2.5 to 3 million that he would never had won if he would have re-raised before the flop. Sometimes with your big pairs, you need to trap your opponents.
Phil Hellmuth's favorite hobby is trapping inferior opponents.
Here at the secondary table, Kenny Shee opened the action to 525 with pocket 8s. Pulled it over to Scott Schwalek in the small blind. He lays down to John Hewitt in the big blind with King Jack of clubs.
Lon, did you see me use the air quotes when I said trapping?
I did, yeah.
Learned that from the poker brat.
Hewitt makes the call for 325 more and will go heads up against Kenny Shee. The flop, ace, 6, 7, 2 clubs. Hewitt with the nut flush draw. He checks to the razor.
Shee primarily an online player, but his intensity just seems suited for live play.
His 8s are best, but he's a slight underdog right now. He bets half the pot, 700,000. And Hewitt with a check raised to $2 million.
You see Shee's chips behind. He can't just call and fold to turn. Kenny's either all in here or folding here.
Does she have to start the hand?
Big moment for Kenny Shee. Oh, and there goes the cap.
We have seen Shee as a very excitable player. This is biggest moment.
Hewitt without emotion. Shee an emotional wreck.
I'm all in.
A quick call from Hewitt, and Shee hates to hear that, but he'll be happy to see his eights are the best hand.
Oh, my head. Wow. Let's go.
Yeah, Shee didn't like the speed of Hewitt's call. Hewitt is favored with the club draw and 2 overs.
Come on. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
A lot of reasons for Shee to be worried. Hewitt has a lot of outs.
Boy, the wear and tear on Kenny Shee's insides.
All right, Shee at risk. The turn card. Oh, and Hewitt wastes no time as he turns the flush, and that will eliminate Kenny Shee.
And with a thud, Kenny Shee's main event is over just like that. He doesn't even get a sweat on the river.
Kenny Shee finishes in 18th place. His previous best live tournament payday was $29,000. He'll go home with almost $379,000 here.
Nice, Sam.
Look, man. Yeah. Look, guys.
Good game, Kenny.
And a likable player leaves the room. Kenny Shee, well done.
I hope he doesn't drop his cow hat when he's cashing in his winnings.
Hewitt will stack almost 5 million newcomers into his bank, and now he's over 14 million. For more on the World Series, visit ESPN.com/poker. Back to the featured table on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Hole Cam. Pocket nines for Sam Barnhart.
Barnhart won $300,000 for the first ever World Series Circuit National Championship bracelet.
He's the short stack in the room with about 4 million, a raise to 550,000.
Barnhart says he relies on math more in cash games and on intuition more in tournaments. Whether it's cash or tournaments, I pretty much rely on my ATM card, which has a rather low limit line.
Tobias Hines with pocket kings.
I want you to start the hand with. You want to count?
Don't give him a count, Sam. He's a young, healthy man. He can eyeball your chips.
Well, Hines does not have that many more chips than Barnhart.
I'm all in.
All in.
Hines shoves for $5.5 million. Giannetti in the big blind.
It's tough to put Giannetti on an energy drink. It just doesn't seem to work.
I call.
Sam calls all in.
Good hand.
Sam sensed he might be beat, but he didn't want to fold with just 17 big blinds left.
Thank you. 1-9.
You pulled it a 9?
Heard Patachuk say he folded a 9, so the case 9 is Sam's best hope.
True story. Nine's going to hit, though.
You probably make it straight, Sam.
Might.
All right, here is the flop. Jack tray 4, no 9, no draw for Sam.
Hines in great shape to bust Barnhart.
The turn card. 10 of hearts.
Good flop for you.
No help to Sam.
Need a 9.
Only the last 9 in the deck will save Sam Barnhart.
The river card is an 8, and Sam Barnhart's main event has come to an end.
It was a fun run for the 51-year-old software analyst.
He brought a lot of character and color to the main event. His impressive 17th place finish is worth almost $379,000. Congratulations, Sam Barnhart. So Hines takes the last of Sam's chips, but that is not enough to put the German into the top 9. Anton Makievsky, OD, and Lamb still running 1, 2, 3. Let's go down to Kara Scott, who was with Sam Barnhart.
Sam, you came in as one of the smaller chip stacks, not critical, but talk to me about how that influenced your decision making.
Well, obviously, it's going to influence anybody's decision making when it comes to your chip count versus the others. The guy next to me had 30 million in chips, and so the blinds are so high now where you've got to pick your appropriate spots and play them, and that's what happened. And obviously,
It's going so quickly out here. We're losing players at such a fast rate. Are you surprised by that?
Yeah, probably a little bit. But at the same time, it's just there's so many chips in play. And I think that's making a big difference this time, is that even at 5, 6, 7 million, you're still on low. I mean, you still got, a few more people to go before you get to the November 9. Right. So they're going to have to play it up.
Okay, thanks so much.
Kara mentioned things are happening rapidly. Well, Ryan Lenehan just re-raised all in with ace-8 of hearts. Action back to the original raiser, Sam Holden, with ace-queen of spades.
This would be for more than 2/3 of Holden's stack. I wouldn't snap call either.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 4.6, 4.6, 3.5. I call.
Holden makes the call and has Lenehan in bad shape.
Lenehan pushes with 23 big blinds left and runs into a better ace. Not much has gone right for the one-time chip leader for a long time.
You saw the grimace on Ryan's face. Both players are uneasy as Holden has most of his chips out there. Deuce 7-6. Holden picks up a flush draw.
And that further limits Ryan Lenehan's outs.
The turn card. The 8 pairs Lenehan, but it's a spade, and Holden's flush brings an end to Lenehan's main event.
Big game, man.
He was active, he was aggressive, and he's a richer man for it. Great run.
The final table to circuit event this year falls just short of this final table. At Lenehan's first main event, he earns a healthy 6-figure score.
Thanks, sir.
And the payouts now go up.
$100,000 move up.
With that win, Sam Holden up to $11.7 million now. These players wanted it so badly, and it was so close. Now, just 6 eliminations until we have the November 9.
I call.
Ryan Lenehan knew he was in trouble when Sam Holden said call, and the board ran out in Holden's favor. Sam risked 2/3 of his stack, and it paid off. At one point, Lenehan was the tournament chip leader, now the 16th place finisher. On this list, Manoj Viswanathan, the only player eliminated on the day he was the chip leader. So Anton Makievsky enjoying quite a big chip lead, and he does chip tricks as well. As Ben mentioned, everyone gets a raise. The next 3 knockouts are worth $478,000. P.S. Hines with ace-deuce of diamonds.
He should have been gone on day 1. On a hand where he had the nut flush, he just called a river bet. His opponent had a straight flush. P.S. says he just had a feeling.
Hines under the gun raises to $425,000.
You and Ilan would have lost everything with that nut flush.
Anton Makievsky, the chip leader, with 4 deuce.
4 deuce, but Anton's thinking, what the heck, I'm bored. Let me see if I can run over another sick and aggressive player with these rags.
Makievsky loves to challenge his opponents. He shouldn't even look at his cards, and he will challenge Hines here. He re-raises to $1,100,000.
I can't recall the last time I 3-bet 4 deuce off for $1.1 million.
Lamb folds his small blind. Sam Holden in the big blind folds his small pocket pair. Back to Hines.
Without question, Hines and Makievsky, 2 of the most aggressive players we've seen. I'd like to propose a 3-handed cash game. Hines, Makievsky, and Max Heinzelman. I'm thinking pay-per-view.
They could play for rolls. Now look at Hines. He's taking back his original raise, and he repops it to over $2 million.
Wow.
How much you got behind? I think a little less than 8 million. A little less than 8 million? Yeah. If you want to count, then. No, that's okay. I'm sorry? That's okay. Okay.
That's okay. I just might 5-bet bluff you for the sheer sport of it.
Makievsky with 4 deuce. And he will give way to Hines.
Oh, you know he wanted to bluff it. Hines' deuce had a better kicker.
Well, that should boost his morale as he shows he won't get pushed around. A necessary quality here in the main event.
There are also like a pretty decent amount of really good players left. We have still like Ben Lamb, Phil Collins, you know, these guys. A couple of online guys that might not be well known to the general public, just like me, but like play really, really well, you know. So it's about, I think it's about half and half, maybe actually more really good players left than like soft spots in the tournament. So It's still like a tough field left.
It's definitely more than half and half are really aggressive players left in this main event. Lots of testosterone in the Amazon room.
Pius, born in Germany, now lives in Austria. We'll keep it here at the featured table. Andrei Patachuk, Jack 10 of diamonds. From Moscow, Russia, a raise to 400,000, a min raise. King 7 for Ben Lamb. He'll sit this one out. Holden folds 5-4 to Hines now. Hines with 2 black aces.
You know, when Hines gets dealt 5-7, I wonder if he appreciates the poetry.
Hines 57. Oh.
You have 10 about, right?
Good day for you.
About 12.
About 12?
A little more than 12.
Hines eyes his prey.
Patachuk has Hines slightly covered, but Hines has the aces, and there's a re-raise to 1.1 million.
By the way, if Hines had the Jack 10 suited, he would have re-raised to 1.8 million.
Back to Patachuk now.
And this Jack 10 suited is not going anywhere either.
So Hines wondering what Patachuk will do next. And Patachuk says, I don't believe you. He re-raises to over 2 million.
Well, when you have a madman's image like Hines, you're going to get re-raised a lot. But sometimes madmen pick up real hands.
And Hines thinking, I will make a believer out of you. He pops it to over 3 million.
Yeah, that 5-bet says, I'm mad, but I'm not crazy.
Patachuk quickly folds, even though he was getting better than 5-1 on his money. Not interested in going up against the runaway train that is Pius Hines, who now is over 13.6 million chips. He knows the field around him is very tough, but this pro seems to be up to the task. Back in Las Vegas for day 8 of the World Series of Poker main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. 15 players vying for 9 seats. Action at the secondary table on Martin Stashko. Jack 9 of hearts.
Stashko comes from a chess background, very good chess player. He has an expert ranking, which is just below master.
He's the short stack in the room now, a raise to 425.
I play a little chess. I love when you get to king or crown somebody.
That's checkers.
Oh.
DaCosta Mamaliadis. And hello, South African Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand fans.
I was recently awarded an expert wild card hand ranking by my mother.
Congratulations. He's on the button. Stashko has already raised it up to 425. Mamaliadis calls.
Stashko had raised under the gun. That's usually a big hand. Maybe Mamaliadis is going to play pocket queens the way we saw OD play pocket kings.
Ah, that would be sneaky indeed. So the blinds fold. So heads up, Stashko and the wild card hand, Mamaliadis. The flop, 9 Jack 8. Stashko hits top 2 pair.
Great flop for Stashko. 35-year-old versus 34-year-old here. The oldest players left other than 49-year-old Bob Munara.
Stashko, chips in hand. And he bets 575,000.
Costa's either got a pair of 8s, a pair of jacks, pocket queens with a gut shot, or a 2-way straight draw.
That's your choice? He makes the call.
Well, I'm going to throw out A forever, and I'm still leaning to queens.
Another 8 on the board. Stashko has 2 pair jacks and 9s.
Oh, this happens to me all the time, Lon, at the poker table and away from it. The wrong card pairs on the board.
Stashko checks this time.
My mother would have told Stashko to still bet.
Costa. He's the one that's going to put chips in first. 980,000.
Okay, I've ruled out A. I've thrown that out forever, but that could be a bad card for Stashko. I think Costa's betting the pocket queens 2-pair with a gut shot. Remember, Mamaliadis is an importer-exporter. He knows you have to export chips to import pots.
Oh, very nice. And a call from Stashko with his jacks and 9s. Mamaliadis wondering what he's up to. Tray of hearts on the river.
Stashko staring at the board. A little more complex than a chessboard, huh? Huh?
Check. He does check.
I believe it is time for a value bet from my South African sunglasses on top of his head import-export amateur.
Is it checkmate for Stashko, or does Mamaliadis have it? A bet of $1,080,000.
What a small wager. Stashko getting 5-1 on a call here. It's either a value bet or a value bet bluff. I say queens up value bet.
All right, so you say C. Stashko with a lesser 2 pair then.
Stashko playing this hand the way you'd expect someone wearing a short sleeve plaid shirt to play it.
Well, Stashko putting chips together. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere.
Call.
He makes the call. Mamaliadis had king 10, a busted straight draw, losing the Jack Link's beef jerky wild card hand.
Oh, good call. And my mother's going to downgrade me to my brother's ranking, which is way below master.
Bad beat for you.
Roll that hand, please.
I'm not wild card happy.
So Mamaliadis gives up some chips. Stashko no longer the short stack in the main event. He is sitting with over 11 million chips now.
I said roll that hand, please.
Devo had asked to see Mamaliadis' hand.
Since you have to show the winning hand, it's unfair for him to muck and conceal information when you have to reveal it.
Technically, Devo is right. I would have let it pass. Not good etiquette to ask to see the losing hand.
So with that pot, Trennick's Martin Stashko moves into 9th place. 8 different countries represented in the top 9. Only 5 million separates 3rd from 9th. Quite a different story at the top of the leaderboard. At the secondary table, Kwa Win opened for $525,000 with Jack 10 of spades. Phil Collins, the big blind, called with Queen 8 of diamonds. The flop is Trey Deuce 7, 2 diamonds. Collins with a flush draw. The blinds are up this hand, 120,000, 240,000.
Collins electing not to push the draw out of position.
And Win checks back. Turn card is the Jack of diamonds, giving Collins a queen high flush and top pair to win. Collins checks again.
The best players keep slow playing their opponents into oblivion. That's a nice check. I would have bet. Collins is going to get action from Win, who's drawn dead.
Yeah, Quad does dig a hole for himself with a bet of 625,000. And now Collins with the mate flush.
Devo often disrobes when Collins and Win are heads up.
Collins with the check raise to $1,450,000.
He must know Win's tendencies well. I thought Phil might have just called there, but he doesn't think a raise will scare Win away.
And it doesn't, and he calls.
These young pros are pretty tough. Phil Collins.
Collins knows Win has something, another 7 on the river.
I think we're going to hire Phil Collins and Ben Lamb as professors at the Norman Chad School of Poker. We could use some new blood. Plus, I don't think we've ever had a winning instructor.
You can't go wrong there. Collins with a big stack of purple. That's $2.5 million.
The board pairing does not concern Collins. Win's the one who ought to have a lot of concern.
We have seen Win make a critical error on the river before.
Call.
And he makes another one here, paying off Phil Collins.
Win has called off a lot of chips a couple of times here on day 8, and the former chip leader is now chip challenged.
A nice gift for Phil Collins. Kwa was never ahead, yet gave up 4.5 million chips. He's in desperation mode with just 2 million in his stack. Collins Rail knows that if he can survive one more night, he is on to the November 9. Matt Matros was nearly out on day 1 of the $2,500 mixed hold'em event, but he stormed back to win the tournament and his second gold bracelet, along with over $300,000. Mr. Jonathan Epstein was booed for making the final table of the ladies event, but Marsha Wolak got the cheers as she became the 2011 champion, winning nearly $200,000. Marsha's win was not enough to crack the upper echelon of World Series female money earners. The top spot belongs to Annette Oberstadt, whose winnings largely came from her victory at the 07 World Series of Poker Europe main event. You see Ben Lamb's earnings at this year's World Series of Poker. That's a pretty good career for a lot of players. This does not include the main event, over $1.3 million. Patichuk with king, queen off.
The 21-year-old still in school, close to getting his degree at Moscow State Technical University.
He raises to $480,000. Ben Lamb with the button.
Lamb left Trinity University in San Antonio to play poker.
He folds ace deuce. Folded 2, P.S. Hines in the big blind with ace 9 off.
Dealt 2 cards, so there's a good chance he'll raise. Hines attended Fresenius University of Applied Sciences in Cologne. I believe they are the Thundering Herd.
And he makes the call for $240,000 more.
Just a call? Well, sometimes your raising arm gets tired.
All right, heads up. The flop, ace, queen, 9, and these two use every ounce of that flop. Top and bottom pair for Hines. Middle pair for Patachuk. Hines checks.
When you think about it, when you have a hooded sweatshirt and you don't use the hood, shouldn't you just buy a regular sweatshirt?
I never thought of that.
I'm asking you to think about it.
Patachuk checks as well. Turn card. Tray of clubs. Hines still way ahead.
I don't think Hines is psychologically capable of checking 2 straight streets in any random hand.
Sorry. He
Wow.
checks. Patachuk now with just a pair of queens up against the aces up.
Patachuk thinks it's safe now. Why not?
And Patachuk does put in 655,000.
Both these players in their first main event ever.
So far, Hines has not given Patachuk any reason to suspect he has a big hand.
But Patachuk doesn't like the look of this. Hines reaching for chips.
Here you go. Check raise to almost 1,700,000.
The check raise. Nice to see Hines's body had not been snatched by some invisible invaders. Patachuk way behind.
But Patachuk reaching for chips, and he will commit over $1 million more to make the call. River card, 7 of spades. Hines' aces up are best.
That is a board quite to Hines's liking with aces up.
You saw Hines eyeing Patachuk's chips. And there goes Hines again. 2,725,000.
Hines bets about 60% of the pot.
I call.
He folded the Jack-10 earlier to Hines, but can't get away from the King-Queen.
Patachuk thought he was getting swaggle-foosed. Nope, he was getting taken to the cleaners.
While Pius Hines' stack continues to grow. What a blow to Patachuk, who hands over half his stack to Hines. And with that, Hines is into 3rd place with nearly 20 million chips.
Я даже туза не было, просто доску блефовать можно.
Precisely.
Да, Макаров.
A dejected Andre Patachuk knows that he may be playing poker in November, but he's a long shot now to be doing it as a member of the November 9. As we near the halfway point of day 8, the curse of the chip leader has not affected Anton Makievsky. Still well ahead, still over 30 million. At the feature table, Ben Lamb opened raised to 525 with 6-5 off. Folded to Matt Giannetti in the big blind with 8-6 of spades.
Lamb felt like raising from the cutoff, and Giannetti decides to join him.
Well, it's not aces versus kings versus queens, but here we go, Lamb and Giannetti. 7-4-9, both flop open-enders. Giannetti's is higher. Giannetti checks. Lamb with a much bigger stack checks. Turn card. Another 9. Giannetti's still ahead with his 8 high.
2 26-year-olds, neither one with a hand, neither one pretending to have a hand yet.
Giannetti checks it to Lamb once again, and Lamb checks back again. River card. Deuce of diamonds, so Giannetti's big blind special, the 8 high is best.
It's rare the 8 high is the best hand. Giannetti assumes 8 high is the worst hand, so he'll take a stab at it.
That's 1 million.
I would have check called if I were him.
Lamb gives up his second best hand.
I like how Ben, even when he folds a hand, keeps looking at you, trying to pick something up.
Ben was born in Oklahoma. Matt went to the University of Texas. The Red River rivalry rekindled right here.
Hey, Matt. You have something really good?
You'll know soon.
It was better than what you had, Ben. All right, we continue action here on Andre Patachuk under the gun. Patachuk from Moscow, Russia, looks down at ace-queen off.
I'm all in.
All in.
And he moves all in for his last 4.3 million.
18 big blinds left for Andre.
Lamb with a pocket pair. But he'll sit this one out. Folded to Pius Hines. Hines with pocket jacks.
Hines now sitting on more than 20 million chips, courtesy of Patachuk.
I call.
Hines makes the call and will try to finish what he started earlier tonight. The rest of the table folds. And so Patachuk at risk with his ace-queen racing against Hines' pocket jacks.
Hines only had to risk 20% of his stack to make that call.
Here's the flop. Patachuk finds nothing in there he likes. Hines still way ahead.
The second youngest player left, now a 3-to-1 dog to stick around.
The turn card. 9 of diamonds. Hines 1 card away from knocking out Andre Patachuk.
Hines about to pad his large stack even more. An ace or queen now, or it's over for Patachuk.
The river card. The 10 of clubs. The jacks hold up. Andre Patachuk knocked out of the main event.
I think he played really, really well. I just made hands again, too.
Several body blows from P.S. Hines knock out 21-year-old Andre Patachuk.
His first World Series cash worth $478,000.
He was a kid with a dream.
P.S. Hines now with over 25.5 million chips. As you said, a lot of them coming from Patachuk. We're halfway through day 8 of the grueling main event. Tonight's starting field of 18 is now 4 players lighter. While German P.S. Hines' stack is millions richer and Phil Collins' rail is getting louder, the tournament continues to grow tougher. For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.